Leave that black. All right, is this thing on? I think we're live. We look like those two dudes from the Muppet Show.
Right.
Who's ready? PNW Trail Bandits looks ready. Okay. Let's see who else has popped up in here. We're going to get some feedback. I know there's about a 15-second delay most of the time, so who hears us? What do you got?
Testing.
Let's go. All right. And hopefully this should be... Jeremy's in. All right. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Sounds great. Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it, man. Is it cold over there in Idaho? It's like 32 and pretty slippery on the way over to the shop tonight. Okay.
Yeah, we've been getting a bunch of snow today.
Oof. Yeah. That's not what I expected when I was driving out here. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do... Does this guy work? Oh, man, we got two angles. This is sophisticated. Okay. All right. We'll leave that blank for the time being. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. What we've got going on tonight, this is the inaugural PNW Dirt Talk. What are we going to call this? Like shop talk?
Shop talk.
Interview,
yeah.
Local vendor discussion.
Tech talk,
all of that stuff. It's we're still kind of making this up as we go. But tonight I'm hanging out at True North Motos with Dan.
How's everybody doing?
Dan North of True North Motos. And the subject this evening is the 2023 KTM 450xcf-w and why it is prepared for world domination.
Yes. I guess a little bit of background. I've had, I think, 4 500s before this bike, a couple EXCs and a couple XCFWs. I was a guide for Grip Twister Tours down in Baja. I did the whole 950 Super Enduro thing to 690.
Greatest bike ever.
Oh, Super Enduro was amazing. And then 690 was not my favorite. And then I went to 500, and basically it was 500, 500, 500, just over and over. And I just sold my 450xcf that I put a 6-speed in to buy this bike behind us.
What year was that one?
That one was a 21.
Okay, all right.
21 450xcf. Dave Sheets from TBT and I, sorry, Shop Cat. We split the cases and installed a 6-speed wide ratio out of a 500 EXC into the bike. Did a Trail Tech high output stator, our full dual sport kit, Baja Designs headlight, all that kind of stuff to the bike.
I think up until now, that was like the cat's ass, right? Like
yeah.
That was the solution.
So that's what a lot of the Baja racing guys do. Usually they just add the 6th gear. They don't do a full transmission swap. I was kind of just trying to see if we could do one because I hadn't really seen if somebody could. It does work.
Well, wait a minute. Why would I bother doing that instead of just buying a 500 EXC?
So 2 reasons. I got the bike cheap. So I paid 85 during COVID with 20 hours on it. And it had a Mako 360 XE gear mount and a bunch of other nice parts on it. So that was one of the reasons. The other is I wanted to see if it could be done. And the transmission swap at our cost anyways, was almost the same price as buying a Git and desmogging the bike and doing the exhaust and everything else. So why not?
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't fully understand the difference between the ignition system on an EXC versus an XCF. So
yeah. So an XCF, you have about 30 watts to play with after the bike's running, where an EXC is 195 watt stator or 168, depending on the year of the bike.
Well, that's your power output, but what about the ignition mapping, the ECU and all that?
So yeah, so an XCF is an unlocked race ECU. I mean, there's no emissions on the bike. It's a full, 60 plus power for motocross race engine for off-road use only bike, where EXC, when you get it from the factory, once, in 2017 when KTM shut down the remapping of the ECUs and locked that up, because you used to be able to get like a Euro map or the Australian map. It just choked the bikes up to about 44 horsepower, and he ended up having to put a piggyback tuner was the cheapest option, or a full replacement ECU.
Right.
Which was kind of annoying, spending that much money on a dirt bike and having it,
One that you just bought.
Yeah, it's like ready to race, mellowish, like. So I did the XCF because I just wanted to try it out. I'd done the Vortex and the Git and the JD tuner on 500s, and Power Commander and all that kind of stuff. And the full replacement ECU is definitely the best way to go. But it was just, why not buy this bike for 85, do the transmission for the same price as the ECU, and check out what a 450 XCF engine is. And it worked. It worked great as aggressive dual sport riding, desert sled. You had linkage, you had the aluminum subframe, but tight trail riding, you still dealt with a little bit of flame out stuff because you have a way lighter crank, you have a way lighter flywheel.
Don't have that momentum.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a 350, which like way more in XCF fashion, wheel of death. There we go.
Are we back? Yeah. Elon's helping us out here right now with Starlink.
Yeah, it doesn't help that we're having a snowstorm. So anyways, the California kind of got rid of their red sticker deal, right?
Right.
Which then in turn KTM released the 450, which they've had on and off. You could get it in a 6 days for certain years. Right. But this one's special because there's no reeds in the airbox. There's no O2 sensor. I mean, it's capped off on the header from the factory. Feed stalled, bros.
Oh, no. We're here, Washington. You're drunk. Ryan, we're trying to be, dude. Gonna put some antifreeze in the radiator. It's cold out in the shop.
Yeah, getting there. So yeah, basically this bike came to where I don't need to do an ECU anymore, right? And I don't need to desmog the bike. So I was super excited about that. I wanted to try one out. It's a tax write-off, whatever. And we wanted to make sure all our stuff fit, which I knew it would.
Yep. Just a ballpark, if I was going to take a 500 DXC, I'm not talking about money, but how long would it take me to throw in all the parts to desmog it and change the ECU and all the other stuff, pull the reeds?
You'd probably be into it. It depends if you've done it before or not. Like if you did it versus somebody that's doing it
for the first time.
If you did it for the first time, it'd probably take you a few hours. Yep. Taking your time, making sure, the biggest scare is pulling that little brass nipple on the intake on your head.
Right.
Because if that breaks, it's no fun. And I've had that happen. And it's not fun. So, if you take your time, probably 3 hours by the time you recalibrate your TPS.
Okay.
You make sure your map's good, and then you got test riding the bike and making sure everything's working correctly, right?
Okay.
So it's not a huge undertaking.
That's a good night in the shop, though.
Yeah, it's a good night in the shop, and it's pretty simple to do. I don't know. I love 500s, and we'll get into why I like them, but I am loving this bike more than my 500s.
Okay.
So,
all right.
You got any questions here?
All right. Clearly the sound is good because Travis wants everyone to know that pulling nipples is scary.
Yeah.
Travis, I think you're doing it wrong, bro.
Yeah. It's just a slight tug, Travis.
That's good.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got on here.
Yeah, if you guys have got questions, throw them in here, and we'll hopefully we'll remember to look back and actually answer them here. Let me scroll back and make sure we've got them all. Dude, it is cold out here.
I know. I think we're good.
No, I think we're good. We're caught up. There we go. I can put. Does it say yes?
Nice.
So it lets me feature some of the questions or comments. So thanks, Travis. You're on blast.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, if you notice the ticker at the bottom there, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, if you're watching from the Facebook feed, if you go to that, it gives Facebook or StreamYard access to say who you are. Otherwise, it just comes, it says Facebook user and it's anonymous. So it's up to you. But all right, there we go. Cool. So I guess the next thing we're gonna do, Travis.
Yeah.
Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start looking at this bike, aren't we?
Yeah. So things I like about the 450 versus the 500.
We'll get there. Let's give Dan his time in the sun.
We'll get the Baja too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The 450 is a shorter stroke, same size piston, shorter stroke engine.
Okay, what does shorter stroke mean for me as a rider?
Shorter stroke means less vibration. Bike feels lighter because you have less engine inertia.
Right.
So I mean, you can go ride a KTM 300 and a KTM 450, and they're within whatever 10 pounds of each other.
Right.
But the 450 will feel 20-25 pounds heavier,
right?
Because it's got a longer stroke, bigger bore,
big flywheel.
Yeah, and it just feels heavier because of engine inertia. So it's harder to corner, things like that. So 450 versus 500, it feels lighter. It feels noticeably lighter.
Okay.
Noticeably less vibration in the pegs and in the bars than the 500. It revs quicker.
Is this because this one's got a new design counterbalancer or no?
Nope.
Is that the same?
It's the same.
Okay.
Same as 2020 through 2023 500.
Okay. So it's all about the stroke.
It's all about the stroke. It's all how you stroke it. Yeah. So it is very noticeably different now compared to a Git ECU or Vortex ECU uncorked 500. This feels like it has slightly less bottom end initial right off the bottom.
Right. That grunt.
But that also can equate to more tire spin in nasty situations.
Right.
So what I've noticed trail riding the 450 is because of the smooth power delivery, it seems easier to ride in single track. It's not as aggressive off the bottom, and it revs cleaner all the way through the RPM range. When you get on it, the 500 definitely signs off earlier than the 450.
Okay. Yeah.
So because it's just it's meant to rev. It's that way. So it just translates to an easier bike, in my opinion. Or fatigue you as much.
Okay. All right.
When you're doing longer rides.
All right. Big deal here in the PNW where you might be running single track as well as headed out to the desert for high speed stuff, right? Like it's a little bit more of a. Did that go?
It was fun. I had, to be fair, suspension was done, rear PDS was all revalved, all that kind of stuff by TBT, and I had a set of KYB converted technical touch forks on it for the race. We ran M5B rear with a Moose, and we ran Golden Tire 216 8100 front with a Moose.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
That's the way. I'm more of a skinny front tire guy.
Yeah, me too.
I think they corner better and they don't climb out of ruts, but we won't get into tires because that's just a heated debate. But yeah, no, it did amazing. Great mileage. Ripped. The suspension actually worked really well. I'm not a big PDS fan, especially for high speed stuff.
Right.
I prefer linkage, but with the reworked back shock, it was actually very good. Me and my business partner Cal shared the bike because his took a dump right before we left. So
it was the night before.
It was the night before. Yeah, night before. Started making some cranky noises. So we decided we were going to share this bike. So we put 8.7 hours of engine runtime on it at the race.
Okay.
So I did 5 laps. Cal did 4 because he was the last rider out, so he didn't do the last lap through there. It was flawless, no issues at all. Ate everything up, and just I actually felt pretty good after riding that long out there and racing.
Okay.
The drive home was definitely the worst part. I mean,
it always is.
Yeah, the 4-hour drive home. Afterwards, I was just like, and of course, the other 2 guys in the truck instantly were just out while I was driving. So
I'm taking a few naps on Highway 14 over there on the side.
Yeah, but it just did really well. It's the same suspension wise and everything else as a 500. If you push Explorer and PDS when it's stock, it just likes to blow through the stroke.
Right.
And one of the things I tell customers or anybody is skinny fronts and fat rears. Damn right. Is the best thing you can do to your bike, even if you're not going to get a revalve or anything,
right.
is throw springs in for your weight.
Right.
I mean, first thing you should do. don't go buy a bunch of orange bling or blue bling or whatever else you're gonna do.
I mean, the orange bling does make it faster.
It does,
but,
yeah. It adds 10 horsepower, right?
Yeah, I would say if you don't respring it and at least set your sag,
Yeah.
you're probably you're going to be chasing a whole bunch of performance issues that really aren't there.
Yeah, or head shake. Why is my bike rattling or shaking at 55, 60 miles an hour?
Right. Why doesn't it steer? Why am I blowing turns?
Why is it the front end pushing through corners?
Right.
Set your sag, get springs for your weight. First thing you should spend money on when you buy a motorcycle.
Right.
Then it's fuel and air filter oil and oil and oil filters. I mean,
I crash a lot. I'll put down like hand guards and probably a bash plate. But after that, man, just put gas in it.
Maybe a T&M dual sport kit or some other stuff. I don't know. Yeah,
it's an option.
It's an option. If you guys want to go that route, that's fine. It's just really good, and we'll kind of go over the bike. Those are kind of my pros. Cons.
Yeah, what are the drawbacks?
Cons. It came with 1352 gearing stock.
Oh wow.
So pretty aggressive low gearing for a 450. I was very surprised when I got the bike because most 500s
would be like 1448.
Yeah, 1448's been 20 plus, and before that it was 1445, which was super tall. Yeah.
I raced 1446 in the desert for high speed, and that was pretty much plenty. That was faster than me.
Yeah. I feel like you more run out of power to pull gearing at a certain point,
right?
Than you do gearing. So I changed gearing right away on this bike to 1450, which I feel like is a good all-around gearing. I can cruise comfortably at 60, 65 and not wringing its neck. It works really well in Gifford and Natchez and all that kind of stuff still. With the 6-speed wide ratio, it works amazing. So gearing, other cons.
How's that? Is that 6 gear a pretty good kind of overdrive? Is it? Yeah, it's a wide gear.
Yeah, you still. I'm sure somebody might ask this if they've owned a 17 plus 500. You still have a 4th and a half. I mean, these bikes are like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 4th, 6th.
Right.
That's just kind of how it feels. I don't know why KTM did that in 17.
Yeah, like 4 and 5 are pretty tight.
And then you got a big gap to 6. Right. So that's still there. And that's another reason why tall gearing makes it even worse. Because the gap gets even worse. But the gearbox is great. These engines are just really bulletproof, reliable if you keep your oil changed and your air filter clean. My buddy Dave McKay from Grit Twister Tours has 450 hours on his 17, and I think 17,000 miles, and then also 3 snow bike seasons where no hours were logged.
Oh my God! Snow bikes is brutal.
Yeah, and we did a leak down. He was still at like it was 6 or 7%, and the valves have never moved.
Nice.
He's never adjusted the valves.
For the audience, I think 10% is generally where you start talking about rebuilding.
That's at least top end. Rebuild.
Of hours, and like snow biking is really hard, so that's pretty impressive.
So they're pretty bulletproof engines. You look around at Round the World Paul, and all these guys riding it all over the place.
His first top end, what was it? It was like 400 or 500 hours.
It was something stupid. I can't remember what it was, but
he did a top and bottom end somewhere around 800, and it was really not needed, but it was because he was going into Mongolia or something like that. So all those guys that say the maintenance intervals are too tight, don't buy into the internet hype.
Well, and intervals are based on riding. Like I changed the oil before we went to the 24-hour race, and we put 8.7 hours on it, and I got back and I changed the oil again.
Right.
If I went out and was dual sporting the bike and we threw on one of our racks and we went, and camped off the bikes, and it's a lot easier on it.
Right.
20 hours, no problem. I wouldn't worry about it. Right.
Okay.
So I think
the book the manual says 15.
Yeah. So if I'm racing it or I'm riding in dunes or heavy load, things like that, then I kind of ignore the manual and I base it on my own, how I'm using the bike. So
I looked at the clock on my 501 after a fresh engine build, and it has 38 hours on it. I dropped the oil after 25 minutes because I was braking, and after that next 38 hours is all one oil. No oil changed.
And I'm sure it's fine. I feel like oil's a cheap insurance, but when we go down and we do like a 1,400 mile trip in Baja, I don't change the oil the whole time.
How much am I going to carry with me?
So
just use quality oil and
use good oil. Don't cheap out. That's another one. Maybe we won't get into those.
Oil
and tires.
in the comments.
Oil and tires. Let's see what we got on here.
Written the new chassis 23 350xcf 450SX. Like the frames. What do you think about frame geometry and?
I really enjoy this chassis. I haven't ridden a 4-stroke 23. I own a 23 300XC.
Right.
And it's definitely a little bit more rigid chassis. I think it's better at higher speed and in sand and things like that. It still works really well in single track, but I'm excited to see and ride the new 500 or the new 450 and the enduro bike when they come out with the new chassis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it's really hard to compare like a 450 SXF to a 450 XCW because you have linkage, you have different triple clamp offset,
right?
You have air forks. It's a different bike. So the new chassis, I do really like it. I think they work really well. If you look at the frame by the head stay and everything, it's braced and welded a lot more around there. It's definitely a stiffer chassis.
Okay.
So it's like, I think it would be like comparing a 2004 YZ250 steel frame in the woods versus a 2007 YZ250 aluminum frame in the woods.
It's a totally different, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different feel. And it depends how you ride it. It depends what level rider you are, and if you're pushing it. I think these bikes definitely lend themselves to mellower riding with the suspension. The way they are from the factory, the valving and everything like that. If you are, a B or A class rider or a double A rider or a pro or whatever you are, you're going to quickly outride the Explorer forks and the PDS.
Okay.
It's going to need work, so think about that.
We're talking work beyond simply just replacing springs. We're talking
valving. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even heavier springs, you're still going to be,
right.
The valving's just not good for that stuff. They're kind of marshmallowy from the factory.
Okay.
So if you're riding slow technical stuff and all you're doing is going through rock gardens and switchbacks and stuff, they're actually pretty good.
Okay.
They're not terrible. They can be made better like anything, but just one thing to think of when you're buying a 500 versus buying a 450 XCF or something like that. They're just set up differently, and they're meant for different things. I mean, one's a GNCC bike and one's a trail bike enduro model, right?
Right.
So it's maintenance. It's really not that big of an issue.
Yeah, Travis is talking about I noticed a whole bunch in the discussions after running the Ironman down in Baja. There's a huge divide between the Honda guys and the Austrian guys. It's like sharks and jets type stuff. And the consistent complaint is the Austrian bikes require a lot more maintenance. And I don't honestly think that that's really the case. Maybe in the past. And then,
I don't even know on that though. I mean, an RFS versus a
the RFS
2006 CRF 450X or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you got titanium valves made of butter.
Right.
In a Honda.
So it's like 2007 is when the 450X got to be 7 or 8, I think, is when they went to steel valves.
Yeah.
Then they ran that same thing till like 17.
And then they were bulletproof engines at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the older ones were good too. You could just throw a set of kibble whites in them and you were good to go, right? But I don't think maintenance is an issue on the KTMs. I think that's just I think it's just internet hearsay from people that don't ride the bikes or don't have the experience on the bike. And
everyone knows.
Yeah. And if you love Hondas and you love Japanese bikes, that's great. I grew up on Hondas and Yamahas, and I had a lot of fun on them. And I'm almost bought a CRF 450X to build and do a dual sport. It was on my list.
Like the new fuel ejected 18 plus X.
Yeah, it was going to be a 21.
Okay.
So they have a 6-speed now, and they're fuel injected.
Yeah.
But they're just heavy. They're heavy.
Remember when those rolled out, like the sound deadening, where they have urethane or whatever inside the swing arm?
Yeah, well, then that's the L.
So, that's right.
So there is the X. I was going to buy the X. We actually built a dual sport kit for the X, and I'm just waiting on rear license plate holder that we're designing to get done. And they'll be on the website. But I think the X is a good bike, and weight isn't that big of an issue if you're riding it down in Baja or you're riding a desert bike and stuff like that, you don't
Right.
notice that difference of 20
No,
pounds, and
at
it actually
speed,
makes
yeah.
it makes it more stable through a
Tracks
lot of
pretty
stuff. Yeah,
well.
yeah. So, but for a dual purpose bike, if I'm only going to have one bike, I would definitely go with the KTM, and maintenance wouldn't be a thing in my mind really.
Oh, here we go. People just want to draw us back into the
Yeah.
debate here.
What's your favorite all-around tire for the rear?
How do you hate a Shinko cheater? That's like one of the best cheap tires.
I hate a Shinko cheater too.
Oh man,
so, yeah, and we can get into this tire debate. DRZ for the win. If you're having fun on your DRZ, I'm happy for you. Whatever makes you happy when you're out on the trails.
You're a stronger man than me.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back. Yes, I have a beer and a splash of whiskey, so you can judge me for that if you want to. So, tires. What is my favorite tire for the rear? That depends on the time of year and the conditions that I'm riding.
The terrain, the
bike. Size is going to depend on the bike. Like I can throw a wider tire on the 450. I like a 110 on a 300. A 450, 130.
Two people want.
Oh, that's good.
What?
All right, so my favorite tire right now for a 450 bike has got to be an M5B Evo. 130 M5B Evo.
Which is actually a massive tire.
Yeah.
That 130 M5.
Yeah, and that's what we ran at the 24-hour. They just hold up, and it really it holds up to dual sport riding. It holds up to gravel. It hooks up well. You got to be careful. I love IRC, Travis. You got to be careful riding trails and not being a honey badger with an M5B.
Oh, absolutely tearing the shit out of the trails.
So,
you could be that guy.
Yeah, my favorite tire right now for snow, slick routes, rocks, lowland Washington riding right now on this side, on the west side of the mountains is probably a JX8 from IRC.
Yeah.
JX8 is that's what's on my 300 right now. I am in love with that tire. They're expensive and they wear fast.
Right.
So
is that the Gakoda or is
that?
Yeah.
Yep. Gakoda, and they also make the IX09,
right,
which is even I think a little bit softer.
Yeah. I love the 9. It was awesome. But it didn't last very long.
No, I made the mistake of taking my JX8 to Mattawa. and
just watch it evaporate.
And then we were camped down on the Columbia, probably like 4 miles away from the the sand area. So I was riding back on the road, and the guy behind me was like, "Dude, I thought I was getting hit with gravel, but it was just all your knobs coming off your tire." And when I got back to the camp, every single center knob was all the way gone. And I wrote it.
FYI, an M5B will do the exact same thing on the highway.
Oh yeah,
and those are big knobs.
Yeah. Same thing.
Bruises.
VE33S is another good tire. It does like the chunk. But I rode the JX8 the rest of that weekend in Mattawa with no center knobs. I mean, in the sand, up the waterfall trail, and all that kind of stuff, and it still hooked up. And it had a moose, so I wasn't really worried about punctures or anything else.
Right.
So, all right.
Oh, Arena Hybrids. Yeah. I don't know where you go to get those. You have to order them online. I don't know who carries Motos.
Yeah.
Motos.
I don't know either. I haven't ran them. I might have to try that one, Ryan. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I'll toss that on the list. I got to get Luis Salinas was doing the Tire Slayer comparisons.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he had some rocking comparisons. If you guys haven't looked,
check out his comparisons.
Yeah, check out the Tire Slayer because he did some great work.
Yeah. Rubber. Yes. I wish I knew who you were.
Rubber guy. You got to read the ticker there and go to streamyard.com/Facebook so it'll let us see who you are. See the fatty front and a weird. I have run the Sedona Equilibrium in the rear, and I didn't think it was terrible. I wasn't truly inspired by it. It was okay. But I'm anti-fatty after riding that thing on single track and just not being able to track because it wants to climb out of the sides of all the ruts and all that stuff. I just couldn't do it. I felt a lot better with a 9090, even in the desert, like a 9090 or like an 8100, because I felt like it actually gave me more protection of the rim.
That I think that's
big strikes.
And I jumped on the fatty bandwagon, and I just found it climbing out of ruts, and slowing my turning down, and I went away from it. I went to the chubby or the 9090. And now I'm back on 8100, and that's usually my go-to. I will run a 9090. I think they work well too.
Right.
I think they're good.
For
they're good compromises.
Stuff, I loved them.
Yeah. I think for looser stuff, the 9090 is nice.
Yeah.
Harder pack, cornering stuff or tracks, the 8100 is definitely on it.
I'm going to burn it up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Vulcan Duros, I've heard great stuff about those too.
Yeah. 220 ride. What about 220 ride? I am actually very impressed with the 220 ride. That is what is on this bike right now, is the semi-gummy 220 right here. So that has about, we can get up closer in a minute and look at the bike, but I think that has about, I don't know, 12, 14 hours on it.
That doesn't look bad for 12 or 14 hours.
And it's a semi-gummy. So it's holding up really well. It's not chunking. I would compare it almost to like, I don't know, a VE33S, maybe a little bit less soft than that tire, but it's just holding up really well. It cleans out well, and the price is great. Adric is a good dude. We went out and rode at Puget Sound Enduro Riders over here, and I just bought 15 tires from him. The fronts are really good. So if you haven't tried a 220 ride front, come by the shop or order one from Adric and try them out. I think they're a very good tire. So
we're just getting sucked into the tire debate.
We are.
What are we talking about? The 520 DC? I know a whole bunch of dudes that absolutely love it. I have not run one yet.
I have not run one either.
Wait, that's a Shinko? I thought it was a Tusk, like the 520 DC, or
I'm not sure. I haven't even heard of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, here's a 450 question. Let's see what
there we go. Yeah.
Is there as much engine braking on the 450? No, absolutely not. Good point. Thank you for bringing it up. There's not as much engine braking on the 450 as the 500, which is kind of nice in my opinion, especially if you're jumping from 300 to 4-stroke all the time like I am, because you go from a bike that has literally no engine braking to a bike that's a little bit better. Yes, it still does for sure, but it's not nearly as aggressive as the 500.
So the stroke is different. Is the crank and crank weight the same, or is it like, does it have the same halves?
I believe it does. I should look it up. I think it does. I mean, but it'd be hard to tell without taking the engine apart, because they're going to be two different part numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, because they're not going to give you part numbers for the individual.
Yeah, it's because it's one unit, right? You get the crank and the rod and everything is one unit. So I think it's the same weight crank and everything like that.
I will research on that one,
but I'm not sure. So if somebody knows the answer, please chime in.
Okay, I think we're about done with tires, but Travis, I don't know what the 220 prices are. We're going to talk to him.
I do, because I sell them.
Oh,
so
well, there we go.
So I think from his site, I know what I paid and what I sell them for. I think I sell front for like $55 and the rear is like $65 or $70.
Dude, that's a smoking deal.
Yeah. So try him.
No reason not to.
Yeah, no reason not to try him. He's a great guy, and something he does on the side, and he's doing really well. So and he's a local Washington guy, so support your local companies.
Well, maybe I'll have to take PNW Dirt Talk out there for an interview with 220 Ride.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people jumped on fatty fronts after Jarvis promoted Golden Tire. I have a great picture of me sitting next to a sign at the Desert 100 about 4 years ago. Golden Tire had they had like a mold issue or something like that. And they had a bunch of fatties, 9100s, where it was like every third knob on the left side was slightly rounded off.
Yeah.
So I couldn't sell them new. I was like, dude, it'll look like that.
I remember when you posted.
Yeah, there's a great picture of me next to this sign that says cheap fatties. Also, I got banned from Facebook for saying that once. Go figure.
They only like expensive fatties on Facebook. What's the brakes on the 450? They are Brimbos front and rear. If you buy the Husky, which we should also probably talk about the difference between an FE 450 and KTM 450xcf-w, you're going to get brake tech. So I don't have a huge issue with brake tech besides the front brake. I really like just how much bite a Brembo has. The brake tech just feels a little bit squishier and a little bit not as precise.
It might actually be good for some folks.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things like tires. You know, it's personal preference. You know, which how do you put your levers on your bike? How do you set up your ergonomics of your bike?
Right.
So Brembo's on the KTM, brake tech on the Husqvarna.
All right. Well, speaking of which, I think we should probably come over here and take a look at this bike.
Yeah, let's check it
Let
out.
me see if I can get this camera pointed in the right direction. Oh, let's see. See the problem with it. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. All right, where are we going to start at? Top here.
Sure. Yeah. So,
dude, I like the mirror setup you've done here.
Yes, it's got a nice crack in it. So these are SXS handguards, and then I put an HDB mirror in my handguard.
What's cool about the HDB mirror?
That it can fold right behind without removing it or having to try to tuck it behind here.
Yeah.
You know,
pretty clean.
Yeah.
It's pretty sano. But what I was getting at is if you hit them up, they'll actually ship you like a new glass for that mirror for the cost of shipping. So it's guaranteed for life.
Yeah, guaranteed for life. You know, same type of thing we do with some of our stuff. HDB is a great company. Their handguards,
yeah, they are super awesome.
Are the most bomber handguards that you can run. This I have set up with flags just because I've been kind of doing that lately.
Yeah, what flags are these?
These are the SXS flags. Yep. So these are the SXS flags on the factory plastic mounts.
Okay, so you used actually the perch mounts for these, right?
Correct. Yeah, and you can run. Here, I'll grab a set.
Let's see if we're looking at it right. Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting the angle right here. Ooh. Look at that guy right there, a little 3D printed something.
Yep, that's our signal wire guide.
Look at that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can also run your SXS with their beefy mounts.
Yeah.
Which are another good option. Dustin ran these in Baja. We sent him a set down there. So good options if you don't have, you know, the plastic mounts on this thing.
With the plastic mounts.
Yeah.
I know from talking to Dustin and from inadvertently making him wipe out while racing, he said those things were pretty bomb-proof, like 45-mile-an-hour crashes, and they look great by the time the end of the race came by. So that's pretty impressive. I'm a big fan of what does he call them? The Burley guards?
These are the Burley, beefy mounts.
Yeah. There we go.
Yep. So, we'll jump into our stuff as one big thing.
Dude, I love your graphics scheme.
Yeah. So Fusion Graphics does all our graphics, but Tyler is amazing there. They're really good to us, and they knock it out of the park. They will also install your graphics.
Yes, so, as I learned after.
Yes.
Man, I should have paid
so I know
Tyler and the guys to install my. Oh.
I pay him every time because it just looks great.
It takes a special kind of person to really enjoy like putting the stickers on. And that person's not me.
And I anal when it comes to how my bikes. When there's a ton of bubbles and I'm the one to put them in there, it's like super frustrating. So
what else are we looking at?
So we got Cyclops Trail Boss Pro on the front.
Nice.
Like we talked about, 195 watt stator. You can run a damn Keurig off this bike. You know, if you need your coffee in the morning before.
It's not a BMW. Yeah, I could say from running the Trail Boss Pro down in Baja, man, that thing puts out a stupid amount of light.
Yeah, we ran this light with the Cyclops Explorer headlight.
Yeah.
Or helmet light, excuse me.
And the Explorer light, the helmet light is basically another one of these, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the bike light points where you're going, and the helmet light points where you wish you were going.
Yep. Wheels are standard wheels. Like I said, this is
anything special down here, right?
No. I don't run a front discard. You guys can bash on you can bash on me for that.
Amateur hour.
I know. No more wheel weights. Just do it. Balance your wheels. It's amazing.
Oh, they make such a difference. I didn't used to do it, and I could totally feel it when I don't.
This is a Moose, and I do put an air valve in my Moose. So when I want to seat the bead with a...
Where am I pointing at? Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Right here. So I want to seat the bead, I can just pump this thing full air.
Yeah.
And it seats my bead.
That's a big help when you put in like a softer Moose, or if you put one in that's used because you want a slightly flatter profile on the tire.
Yep.
Being able to blast a little bit of air there and seat the bead is...
Especially a used Moose when you're stuffing it. You know, if you're jamming a section of moose in there,
which I do,
yeah,
pretty
which I do
frequently.
too, yeah, because you know, coughing up $140 every tire is just not fun. So we have a pile of them on the shelf over there.
Yeah, I have a trash barrel about that size that's full of like moose and moose segments.
Yeah, yep. Front forks on this right now are my AER forks off my 23 because my other ones are getting converted to the true open chamber forks that came on the old bikes.
I was gonna say they're kind of missing some graphics over here.
Yeah. So these are just off my 23. The KYBs are on my 23 over there.
On the TBI?
Yeah, on the TBI bike.
Okay.
So that one's it's got a steel rod in it for a shock right now because we're doing a bladder conversion on the rear shock and redoing that. Guards. I'm a fan of bulletproof racing or bulletproof designs, excuse me. And I really like the rubber strap.
All about the rubber strap.
It's just so easy to get your tank on and off if you ever have to do anything.
Yeah,
and especially because we mount the horn to the radiator guards, and they have threaded holes in there, so it makes it really easy.
It does simplify getting the tank off because it's just boop boop. It comes.
Well, you get rid of 4 bolts, right?
Right.
So it's a seat bolt, your one tank bolt, the fuel pump connector, and your fuel line, and it comes right off.
Yeah. I will say I've seen a lot of people run it without the little rubbers on there, and I don't really recommend it because it's so easy to hook that shroud with brush or something like that and just peel it back.
Especially if you bought graphics and you put them on your shrouds, because then you break your tabs off. So these actually flex out. Yeah. You know, when you get in a crash, you know, this rubber will flex out and pull, and you don't break your plastics. So, and they're $10 with the bolts. So why not add them to the guards?
Why not?
SXS skid plate.
Yeah, this guy right here. Okay.
Yeah. SXS, John Seahorn is the man. Their products are amazing. Their customer service is amazing.
Right.
We run them on everything.
Let me, Travis says he's looking at our asses right now because I've got the, okay. Let's see if I could go like just full screen only on this one. I'm not sure how that works. I need like an audio visual.
Yeah, forgive us for our first time doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Get out. What if I can't remove it. I think I can turn the camera off. That's not really going to help us anyway. You're just going to have to stare at my ass, bro.
Can you not see the bike at all?
Oh, no. It's just that the other...
Okay, the other camera's looking
at the other camera's looking at us facing away. All right, well, like a teacher at the blackboard, I will endeavor not to wiggle too much for you.
Travis, don't act like you don't like it.
Can we purchase SXS from True North?
Yes, you can.
As a matter of fact, yes, you can.
They're on the website, or you can call me direct. The number on the website and the email on the website under contact goes directly to me.
Cool.
So feel free, shoot me a text too. You can text me at that number. I will get back to you as quickly as I can.
Awesome.
Going back into protection pieces.
I gotta scope the
graphics.
I love the graphics, man.
Yeah.
That's why I called up and talked to you and got Tyler to put them on mine. They're so baller.
Yeah, I definitely like the silver in the mountains and everything.
Yeah.
They turned out killer.
You gotta figure out how to make the mountains turn blue when it's cold.
Yeah. Well, then it'd be like drinking water.
I don't want no watered down shit. All right, what else are we looking at?
Carbon up clutch cover. They're bomber. That came on my 450xcf. That's why it's on there. And yeah, they work well.
Oh, there you go. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. What is this?
Takamoto oil cap.
I don't know if I can
brighten it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can brighten it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it because I'll accidentally turn us off. Oh, God. There we go. Anyway.
I really like the Acherbys frame guards because they come up higher over this part, and that's where my boots rub all the time, and I wear the paint off my frame. So
makes it harder to resell it when you've got that big scuff on the frame there, right?
Yep.
I can't tell them it's low hours.
Yeah.
Ridden by an old man on the way to church.
That's why you take the clutch cover off right away. X-Trig.
Yes.
So X-Trig, you can tell one thing I love about X-Trig. This is my sag, and this is Cal's sag because he's skinny. So that's
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
I don't really share a bike with anyone. So that's a great idea.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm looking at it or not. Yeah. There you go. hopefully the light's good enough. You can see like the 2 different tick marks there. So yeah, he put a different set of preload on there. Dude, that's like 12 millimeters.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it was just up and down. So this was top, this was bottom. So it wasn't very much.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
We couldn't go much
okay.
and took as much out of there to where we still had some preload on the spring.
So the reason the X trig there is pretty cool. If you're doing, I think most people are probably not going to make frequent adjustments, but if you are the kind of guy who does, God, oh, I just turned myself off. Well, anyway, all right. So talking, I'll figure this out.
Okay. Well, here, I'll go over to this side of the bike since that's where the camera's pointing now.
It's pointing at your ass now.
Yeah. Yeah. Dirt Tricks, reusable dome washer. Really like these. Dirt Trick sprockets, DD sprockets, both just bomber sprockets. You put them on once, they're probably going to last the life of the bike. So like I said, we changed 1450 gearing on this, so I did sprockets right away. One of the most important, in my opinion, guards you can put on a KTM is your Bulletproof Designs swing arm tab guard.
Can that see?
I don't know if you can see this.
I'll get there. I'll fix it.
Brian's experienced technical difficulties right now, so we have repaired 2 swing arms where they broke the tabs off. It is cast. Welding it doesn't work. Swing arms are $600. The guard's $75. So I always throw one on my bikes. Let's see what else.
Come over here and see if I just got to re-add myself from the. Here we go. There we go. Okay,
and we're back.
All right. So yeah, what he's talking about here is you got your chain guide down here, right? Here's your stock chain guide, and it is you could definitely nail a rock pretty hard on the lead edge of that chain guide and break these tabs off the swing arm. And when you do, you can't really repair it.
So we've actually repaired it in this way, where we took this swing arm tab guard. They used to come with a tab and bolt up through the bottom of the swing arm.
Right.
They don't anymore, but the holes are still there. So a guy broke off this. So then I went on the lathe and made a space thickness as the tab.
Yeah.
And then I bolted it to the bottom and put the spacer in and rebolted the chain guide back on, so I didn't have to buy a swing arm.
So your guard actually became
the guard was the tab from there, right?
Yeah.
But you buy it first, and then you're not going to break it off.
Yeah.
So
having experienced that, like way out in the middle of nowhere in Baja, that's kind of a big deal because it's a super pain in the ass.
Yeah.
First off, it's going to mess you up like immediately by throwing your chain off.
Yep.
And hopefully not like breaking your chain or injuring you. And then you have to deal with the after effects of getting out. And you definitely don't want to be running around with no chain guide.
Yeah.
Super easy to mess yourself up without one of those, especially in rocky spots or where you're going to hit brush or whatever.
Yep. I know Brian's going to yell at me for this one because there's actually air in this back wheel.
Air's for combustion,
I know. This is my tubeless wheel, so I have 2 wheel sets. This is a 220 ride tire. Oh, we were going to talk about looking at this.
Yeah.
I think this has about 12 hours on it is what I would guess.
Dude, that's not bad. For 12 hours?
Yeah.
That's
so
pretty good.
It's holding up really well. To be fair, that riding was mostly at like Rob camp and riding sweep and being easier on it and riding gravel roads and stuff. So
here's an affected bit. So I think generally, I think we know that generally Tusk is kind of like Harbor Freight. Sometimes you get some good stuff and sometimes it's just trash.
There's certain things I will support from Tusk. Their wheel spacers are one of them.
Their rear wheel spacers are awesome.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, man. I pre-ran all of the 1000 with those things on there just to see how they do.
Well, and how easy it is to get your wheel on because they have this bevel on them versus being a sharp edge.
A little bit chamfered there. They go on easy.
Yep.
For those of us who have to wash our bikes pretty frequently, they do a good job of protecting the seals there from that straight blast.
Yep, exactly. You do want to take these out when you take your wheel off because there still will get stuff behind here.
Yeah, you definitely want to clean behind them. Moto camera is better than the laptop camera on this end. It says, don't remind Dan, Cal turned in the fastest time on that machine.
Yeah. I wish I knew who you were, Facebook user. I know we did.
No,
Cal's
I'm not a
fast.
Facebook user. I'll probably go on to Facebook and I'll find out that it's Cal.
Yeah, it probably is. Or it's Jeff Skewis. He was on the team. Or Scott McFate. Let's see.
You got a what's your shark fin down here? Is that
So that
parts or is that something?
No,
else?
that is the.
I can't read.
I think it's a 7602. I might be saying that right. It
Oh
might be
yeah,
a 7062. I can't remember the numbers.
Isn't that a grade of aluminum? I think it is.
Yeah, it is amazing, and it is almost the same weight as the stock caliper carrier.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
did it replace the actual?
yep, it comes all the way up.
Oh man, yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of
So-
my shark fins kind of bolt onto the stock carrier.
yeah. So this, I am really impressed with these.
Cool. Okay, well, that's good to
Lightweight.
know.
I've been running those. No more tire weights in the rear again.
Yep.
Balancing my tires. Something we should jump on. Yes. My mother's put away, but I just bought a 4.1 from Paulson's, and I wasn't going to put it on this bike until I went in and realized that there's another map for an open exhaust FMF exhaust.
Oh.
So because it's an unlocked ECU on this new 450, they have a different map. So I just threw this on a couple days ago. I'm going to go in Tuesday and get it remapped to the map with the open exhaust.
How involved is remapping?
It's me taking it to the dealer and spending 10 minutes there, and they plug it in and they put on a new map.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. My dealer doesn't charge me. I don't think if you bought the bike there, they would charge you.
You got some frequent flyer miles.
I do. Yeah. So I have a little bit different deal with the dealers because we buy a lot of parts and everything from them. But what I was going to say is the muffler on these new 23 XCFWs and FEs does not have a spark arrestor.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So
that could be a big deal.
But it does have the cone.
Oh, you can put one in.
Yep. Well, this has a spark arrestor.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But the OEM muffler does not have a spark arrestor. It is not USFS approved.
Okay.
So, but the funny thing is, it still has the cone that they have inside, and
Right.
they've moved locations, right, to give it more top end. So the cone used to be down here at the bottom,
right,
on bikes. On the 450, it's all the way up. It's supposed to be more top end, but it does not have a spark arrestor.
Okay.
Here. Yeah, heater ain't working so well right now.
There's no heat in the fan. It's blasting.
Yeah.
Going numb.
So I threw this on because I wanted to try the map. Also, it's a spark arrestor, and they offered a good deal on it.
Blue titanium.
Yeah, it's fancy. It's
carbon.
It's 1.3 pounds lighter.
Okay.
I actually weighed them.
That matters.
Yeah. So
I could make like an entire series out of like putting stuff on the fish scale and just weighing it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fat boy, I'm lazy. Seat comfort.
It is. That's excellent.
XL seat.
It looks like it lifts and cups and separates.
It does. Yeah, it does dirty things to you on long rides.
Yeah, if you look at it from the top, that's the profile. So when you look at on Seat Concepts and they have kind of the different layouts, that's what that wide.
Yeah, this is the XL comfort. The XL comfort.
Yeah.
So the standard comfort's going to be almost an inch narrower on each side.
Right. That's pretty awesome. If you're going to dual sport this thing, dude, that is the way to go.
Yeah, and they're still thin up front. So I mean, we ran this at the 24-hour. I didn't have any issue because when you're standing, most of the time your legs are up here, and you're in the narrow part of the seat, and then when you're cornering, your knees are way forward. So it really didn't impede riding fast and racing.
I ran. God, I don't think it was a Seat Concepts. Maybe it was a Fisher, but it had a really wide kind of platform in the back.
Yeah.
And what I found on super long rides is actually like it chafed like the back inside of my legs.
Yeah.
Like pretty horribly because I'm up off the seat going back and forth a bunch.
Yeah, and I haven't noticed that with this. I had a Renasco on my last 500.
Pretty Gucci.
Yeah, it was. I bought it used on ADV Rider. So
yeah, if you haven't looked at the times, the lead times and the prices on Renasco, they're a lot.
Yeah, it was suede. It was my Cadillac Escalade of my seats. So. Cherubies 3.2 gallon tank.
I'm just going through some various sponsors here. So that's the 3.2. Did it come with that, or did you change out?
I put this on. I have a 3.9 as well. So 3.9 is almost the same shape everywhere, but the top is like
a little bit wider.
That big.
Top. Okay.
A Cherubies versus IMS.
Oh yeah, there's a
good point.
Brass inserts versus
wood screws.
Yeah.
Wood screws aren't that bad. Just don't go ham-fisting wood screws and you'll be just fine.
Use like a bit driver. Don't use a wrench.
Yeah, or just a T-handle and seat them.
Yeah.
Just seat them and you'll be good to go.
I do worry about that, getting in and out, like swapping pumps back and forth.
Yeah. That part, a lot of times, like my 3.9, I have an extra pump for. So I just put the tank on and
it's some first world stuff going on. I just put like an entire separate $400 pump in there.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know what you. I don't know what you peasants do. In my defense, it's my spare.
Right. XC gear. I really like these.
Dude,
I mean,
these
I can
things
see
are
if I
so
can make
awesome.
it.
I don't know if I can catch like the amount of flex on it.
See if that translates in videos.
There we go. Yeah, I think.
But
yeah,
it's quite a bit, and you don't notice it while you're riding.
Right. Let's see if I can get it from right on the side there. If I get like an index behind. Yeah. Yeah. So that thing, there's a lot of play in there, and I thought when I took that thing down to Baja, and I thought I was kind of concerned I was going to hate it because there was so much play, but honestly, it took so much of the impact and the vibration out.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
My hands, I mean, I wasn't on the bike like this legend here taking the video right now, but at the 24-hour, yeah, there he is. At the 24-hour, my hands really never hurt. I never got bad arm pump. I didn't get any numbing or anything, and I've broken both my hands.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I do get that numbing in my pinkies, basically.
Yeah.
So it's great.
That's compression of the ulnar nerve canal, at least in my my experience.
Yeah. You get a map switch with the new bikes.
Okay. That's stock.
That will not come on the 500.
Okay.
Or EXCs. It would come on a 500 xcf-w.
Can you set when you go to the dealership and you do the flash? Well, I guess they're flashing the entire ECU, so you can't have like map 1 is when I have the.
I'm going to ask that question, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Because that was my goal. I was like, can I have the open exhaust map as as the green map, and then as number 1 I can have the other map that's mellower.
That would be awesome.
So that would be awesome. I don't think that's the case.
I think you're changing the table in the ECU at that point. So maybe
Rogue ODI lock-on grips.
Dude, these things I resisted for a really long time. I will say that I used foam grips for the 1000 just because the amount of time. But man, it's so easy to get these on, and dude,
they're awesome. The gray ones, the soft ones, they like peel apart my gloves, and they're too soft for me. A lot of people like those, but I love these grips. Anytime I do flags and don't do a full wraparound, I do
always get those ends on there.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
especially for the throttle side, because if you break your plastic throttle tube,
you're in trouble.
That sucks. True North Motos stuff. We'll end with that before we go back to questions. So this has our full dual sport kit on it. Plug and play, $390 retail. You message me that you're a PNW Dirt Talk member, I'll give you 10% off.
Oh yeah.
So you got KTM Euro switch.
These things are actually really cool.
Hold up to water, don't fail. It's not a Chinese switch. This is a factory switch in Washington, the PNW. I've come out with other switches before, and my bike's flashing signals or trying to do weird things.
Stay on and all that stuff. Yeah, your Chinesium doesn't function very well here.
So
I've even tried like taking those apart and basically like silicone sealing them inside.
Yeah.
And still had bad luck with
them. I've had terrible luck with them.
They're basically disposable.
That's why we use these. Also, everybody loves the slim switch.
Yes.
That's great. I love it. I love the size of it, but you still have a kill switch.
Right.
Because this has an integrated kill switch. So even this is a 1/4 inch wider than a slim switch.
Right. That's not so bad then.
Yeah, but then you still have basically this much width over here trying to place it with a slim switch unless you did like a bomber from Moto Minded and put them both on one.
They're all in. Yeah.
So
it would take me a long time to retrain my fingers to have this.
I'm having trouble on my 23.
The TDI's got them the same. Right?
I keep hitting my starter button instead of killing it. So one thing about this versus like other switches is it does not have off. You got low and high.
Oh.
So there's no off. Now an XCF-w or an
Yeah.
FE.
Does it have the interrupt switch over here next to the?
Well, it should, but I have another product that I took that away
okay.
because I don't like trying to get down in there with
I
the
can never
wires.
reach this stupid.
So
yeah.
over on this side
What we got here?
is just a waterproof switch in the turn signal housing. That
Cuts
that
the
same
lights
thing.
off entirely. Huh?
That is your entire lighting circuit turns off.
There you go. That's good to know.
So they're not on the website yet. We build these for people on request, but I'm gonna throw them on there. It basically replaces that push-pull switch.
Okay.
So if you run like HDDs or wraparounds where it's hard to get to, or it gets under these wires, it's hard to get to.
Right.
I like to throw these on.
Cool.
And it's just simple and easy. Turn signals. These are hand shield turn signals. Super bright, 1 watt draw.
Like no power whatsoever required to run those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moto Minded does our
the
3D
backside.
printing on our wire guides.
Who's Moto Minded? Is that Chris
Vestal. Yep.
Yeah.
So he does all that stuff.
That's pretty Sano right there, man. There's nothing.
Yep. And then
It's got to be hard to break those.
it is.
I know I could.
And if you do, we replace them for free.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, there we go.
they're lifetime warranty.
All right.
So-
Put together for guys like me.
This thing only came with the push-pull switch, right? That's the XCF-w. This is basically our headlight adapter harness, and something I was going to go over. So this plugs in.
Let's put it on something where we can kind of look at it. Oh, good. We're just staring at our ass over here.
So this plugs into your stock headlight plug, comes up, gives you power to your multifunction switch, comes back down and gives you a new headlight plug with high and low and everything else. Horn wires to run your horn wires. And something we just added to this is auxiliary power for low draw auxiliary.
Nice. So like your USB at the front there or whatever it is.
Yep. So this guy, which is on my bike, and we'll go back over there.
Oh, I saw it. It's like a waterproof USB charger.
Dual USB waterproof charger. So I'll put my phone on there with my maps.
Okay.
And then I can plug right in there. But doesn't have any problem keeping up with it.
Those like 2.4 or whatever it is.
Yep.
Okay. I know the Galaxy will not. It'll tread water at 2.1, and at 2.4 it'll charge, and 3.0 it charges good.
Yeah. So this, I haven't had any issues.
Cool.
I'm also an iPhone guy, so I know. Terrible. But this just plugs in right here. There's nothing to run back to your battery.
That's pretty awesome.
And it's relayed. Don't run your fan to these or anything like that.
Oh, that's a big power draw.
Yeah. If you're running a relayed harness, which is separate, it wouldn't go on this bike, it would go on like an XCF.
Right.
Then you can run your fan to that stuff because we built the harness that much. The other thing that we built for that, you have a GPS and you want an SAE plug and you don't want to run it back to your battery.
Yeah.
That little thing will plug in right there too. So just some quick, easy plug-in stuff. The tail light is our all-in-one tail light that we just did.
Oh, that's got okay.
So we did
I don't know if you can tell, but there's like 3 LEDs on each side.
Yeah, and they're square emitters. They're not bulbs. Super bright, license plate light, running light, brake light, turn signals.
Nice.
All that stuff. That's what's on the back.
Yeah, I was going to say that takes care of the whole dual sport conversion there, right? That's pretty.
Now, is it legal in all places? No.
8 inches apart or whatever it is.
Yeah. Depends how you measure.
Yep.
Man,
that's a flight.
So yeah, that's the new all-in-one tail light that we just designed. This is a Moto-minded flex plate.
Oh, look at that.
It bends and flexes.
I've broken a whole bunch of plate mounts.
So like if you come under here,
you
can kind of see.
Right. Oh yeah. Yep.
It'll bend up.
Nice. Okay.
So and we can show one on the bench, but
I've like stress cracked and broke. I've broken plates just from vibration.
Yeah. So there's your rubber elastomer that you mount first, and then the plate backer mounts to that. So
sweet.
Definitely a big fan of those. Then you have the enduro plate like up here that'll, hinge, or you could just do a hard plastic one. But
I'm not a fan of the hard plastic ones.
I'm not either. I'm hard on my bikes and always rip them off. So
I've broken several of those now.
But yeah, I think that's the basic overview of the bike. I'm trying to think of anything else that's really on this thing.
Well, let's take a look and see. Let's take a look and see what people are asking.
Yeah. Let's look back at the comments.
All right. So we got here late. Oh yeah, we'll talk about next week in a minute here. Yeah, Travis, that's the Mako 360 from XC Gear. Lance and the guys over there. Man, that thing is so baller. I'm I'm a true believer. That thing is amazing. Oh, what else we got? Switches look great.
Is that the Mako? Yes.
Yeah, man, the switches are awesome, man. I cannot emphasize what an improvement those switches
Axel.
are over.
Sorry, we got a dog.
dog over here. Oh, dog, what's up?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
It's hard to emphasize what an improvement those switches are over the Chinesium ones. I mean,
Come on.
everybody's seen them. Everybody's used them. They
Come
look,
on, Forrest.
they're skinny and they put all the functions all together in
Get in
one
there.
place. But
I'm shooting a video.
they just don't survive in the rain
Why?
up here. Let's see. The moved interrupt.
Coral, you
switch. Did
okay?
you show the? Oh yeah, no, the kill switch.
Coral.
Here, I'll come back.
What's wrong?
The kill switch is actually integrated with that multi-function switch here, right? So when you get up here, all right, you've got your headlight selector. You come down and you've got your horn and your signals and all that stuff. Kill switch is right here. So it's all in one place, which is pretty sweet.
Did the dog bite her?
And that's like an OEM. That's an OEM switch. So they are very well constructed and they work pretty well.
I got to shoot this video. Okay, calm down.
They don't have any problems with the rain. Huge deal around here. Where's Nova? Yeah, the new
dog away.
I don't know where the new dog is.
Yeah.
The other kill switch. What's the other? Oh, you're talking about the other. Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, the other kill switch is just this guy. I mean, you could put it on either side, but this one, there's a lot of room over here on the mount for the mask. Trying to get it with the right amount of light there. But yeah, that allows you to turn the lights off completely as opposed to the multifunction switch, which gives you like high-low. So let's see.
Sorry, kid crisis. My wife's at work.
Kitty crisis. What's up, Cat?
What else
Moto Cat's pretty awesome, man. All right. Did it come with a fan or did you have to install that?
Came with a fan.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Came with a fan, and then what do I see back in here? Is that a thermostat?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a thermostat on there.
Thermostat. You can tell no O2 sensor. That's factory.
That's pretty nice.
So.
All right. Man, it's been a while since I looked at a sight glass that I could actually see through because all of mine are basically sandblasted.
This is a product I really like that we didn't touch on.
Oh yeah.
So this is a clean speed near brake pedal. So this moves your brake pedal back almost about a half an inch.
Ooh, okay.
So it allows you to stay on the ball of your foot
more
and not have to transfer your foot back and forth to get to the rear brake. So big fan of these.
Okay. And with all the stuff you swapped out on this, I'm surprised you're good with stock pegs. Or you just haven't got around to it yet.
Till I bend them and till they're broken.
Yep.
Till they're broken.
I've definitely broken a few. All right. I don't know when they started doing it, but putting the cable loom guides in here. What year was that?
20.
Okay, because I know that my 16 and my 18 do not have them.
Yeah, I do like the new guides.
Makes it just a little bit harder to kink that part of the loom, and then you've got like one random wire that's broken and is basically screwing you.
Yep, exactly. And they also made the wiring harnesses longer.
Yeah.
So it's not as tight when you turn.
Right.
This is locked into the stand, so I can't turn it right now. But yeah, it's definitely they up their wiring. And then the 23 bikes is just the next level of wiring. So the new harnesses, we'll do a separate video about 23 bikes at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, they definitely the 20 plus. I think it's about 4 inches that they added in here.
Oh man, 4
so
inches.
You can see how much
difference.
You can see how much more it has for slack. The wiring organizer is also different on these bikes. Let's see if I can pop this off.
Get that guy off. Oh wow.
So like you got the spot for the 6-pin connector in here, a flasher relay box. It's cleaner. There's still stuff that hangs back there.
Right.
KTM could do better on their wiring organizing stuff.
Right.
I probably could on my bike too, but whatever. That's fine.
Right. Oh, a theft kill switch.
Yes, we do have one of those on here.
Okay. Do we have one on the bench somewhere that we can look at?
I don't. There's a picture of it on the website.
Okay.
Hidden kill switch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you where it's at.
I'm sure you could figure it out eventually.
You could probably figure it out, but it's basically this same switch.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, it's just one of those little push or one click toggles.
Yeah. And there's a location. If you buy one, we send you a video of where to install it.
Okay.
that kind of stuff. I try not to disclose it because we sell them to people. I don't want people to know where the buttons are unless they bought one.
Yep.
What it does not kill your engine if you push the button. It is not a kill switch. It intercepts your starter button and allows it so
okay.
it doesn't work, basically. So it'd be the same idea if you bought like a sick-ass racing switch where it plugs in between your starter button.
Right, with the little key in there.
If you turn the key off, it doesn't actually kill your engine.
Right.
But if you kill your bike and the key's off, you can't, the starter button won't work.
Right.
So it does the same thing. The reason I like a hidden kill switch versus
everybody knows
a key is because I don't have to just pull the mask off and unplug it, and then I can start the bike.
Right.
This is a bit more involved.
Okay.
So send me a private message if you want to know about them. That way I'm not calling everybody's out.
Good call.
On the internet. So,
what levers? Those look like stock Brembos to me. Have you changed your levers?
I have not changed my levers.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't. I cut my clutch lever down on every one of my bikes. So that's done on this bike.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm a big fan of like 1 and 2 finger operations. So all of my levers are cut, but I run stock for everything.
Yeah. So cut and then file.
Yeah.
At the end afterwards, I use a cutoff wheel and then kind of clean it up and then go at it with a file so I don't stab my finger when I crash.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a certain amount that I can move it in, and I'm a 1 finger. Sometimes I'm a tired 2 finger clutch guy.
Right.
And this is just kind of perfect with my hand on here. It's kind of a weird angle, but doesn't hit your other 2, your ring finger and your pinky.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right.
For you.
So for me, actually, definitely some issues going on when I was building the bike. I mean, to be honest, God damn it, man, those tanks are expensive, and it was already expensive to build the bike. And I looked and I said, you know what, run what you brung. The best part is, I didn't realize it, and at some point, I sold my 4-gallon tank to my buddy Chris Blue, and did not realize until afterwards that I'd sold him the 4-gallon instead of the 5-gallon. So Chris is rolling with the tank that I wanted, but hey, man, that was on me. So I ran 5 gallons. I guess I should probably do like one more walk around the bike, carnage and all that. But what I did was which comes out to 3.5 gallons or so, which me kind of doing my math, that's like the worst mileage I ever got on the bike was 30 miles per gallon, and that was like deep in 5th gear blasting sand washes. So I looked at that and said, if I miss a pit and I'm filled up to about 12.5 to 14 liters, I can make it to the next pit, which is good because I did miss a couple of pits. One because I was stupid, and the other one because I thought I was stupid. So
I just run DOT approved hand signals and whistle on the bars.
I like the whistle idea.
Yeah.
You put like the rubber ducky that squeaks.
Yeah. So you're using hand signals. I'm assuming is what you're talking about, not actually turn signals. We have DOT approved OEM style turn signals for the front in our kits as an option because some places are strict about that. So the hand shield signals are far enough apart and they actually meet the requirements. But yeah, that's a good point. If you can get away with it, I would not run turn signals too. But you can't in Washington unless you got a plate. The way the law reads actually is if a bike is street legal from the factory in Washington, you're allowed to remove turn signals and use hand signals, but you're not allowed to ride at night. If your bike is converted, you are never allowed to remove turn signals. So kind of a weird, ridiculous law, but yeah, I wouldn't have to because we do inspections, so I could probably get my bike passed without turn signals. But also, it's a promotion thing. When people see the bike, I want to show them what kind of stuff we sell and what's on the bike.
Sure.
So
but
I think I'll miss
the OEM signals they're pretty prone to destruction.
Oh yeah,
I know I've broken a bunch of them. What else is in there?
Where's Nova? She is inside. She is a 14-week-old puppy. and would probably destroy this equipment outside right now. So switch.
Okay, yeah, we talked about the kill switch.
Tyler, what's up, Tyler? Great job this year in Enduro Cross. What levers? All right. That safety switch would be great on my 690. Yeah, I should look at doing something on the 690. If you have a 690 and you want some stuff, bring it over to the shop. I will definitely hook you up.
Do some fitting.
Yeah. No steering stabilizer. No.
Now, is that like on purpose, or is that just the way it is right now? Or
I might put one on there. Even racing 24-hour, which is pretty fast stuff, I didn't really have any head shake issues or anything like that. And there's definitely some hidden rocks in the 24-hour. If you've ridden it, if you get off the track at all, it can get sketchy. But I didn't have any issues with that. So
that's one of those back and forth debates I know where honestly, if your suspension and your geometry is set up right, the stabilizer is not as mandatory as it might be on some other stuff.
And if I'm bike goes to Baja, which it probably will. We'll probably do another Baja trip. I will throw my Scots onto there, and honestly, I want to mount it on there anyways because I want to try out the Mako 360 Scots mount. So,
is that their top mount, or are you talking about the sub mount?
It's a sub mount, which means I might run lower bars because I really don't like running bar risers or raising my bars up at all.
No.
So
I found on the race bike, I screwed up when I ordered my bars, and they were like 43 millimeter rise overall, which would have been okay, except I was pairing them with a Mako sub mount, which brought it up something like 19.
Okay.
So what I wanted was the low rise, 23 millimeters.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem like much, but that 20 millimeters made a huge difference in overall fatigue. It changes like your riding angle. And
a lot of people with bar risers, thing that I don't think they understand is when you raise the bars, it actually brings the bars closer to you.
Right.
Unless you roll your bars forward, and now you've changed where you're putting the weight and everything down on your front forks, and it's handling that way.
Yeah, once you get forward of the steering stem, everything gets a little bit weird. Yeah. So rolling them forward it's kind of a solution. It's kind of a hack solution in my opinion. I'm not like some super duper pro, but I can definitely tell the difference. I have a harder time controlling it with it rolled forward. I'm quite a bit happier with them way down low.
Yeah, I am too. I ran bar risers in the past.
Yeah.
And
I think if you're dual sporting and you're not like in attack mode a lot.
Yeah, I think all right.
There we go.
So what I was saying about bar risers, I got yelled at when I started kind of racing the enduros and riding a bit more aggressively. For those of you that don't know me, I am a mid-pack A rider, and this year, without getting in shape and really going and doing a bunch of the series, I was mid to low pack vet A rider. So that's where I stand as far as ability. So bar risers, good if you're just cruising around dual sporting. Take them off if you want to ride aggressively all the time.
Yeah, I think they end up being kind of training wheels, and they feel good at first, and ultimately they'll actually hold you back.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to run them as you're kind of getting accustomed to it. But I think you. Be more stable.
Then you can buy lower parts. So
yeah, exactly.
In Pumpkin Patch, that's a great name. Night riding single track. You must have the fork wraps with the daytime running light. Yes, they do work well nighttime on single track.
It's like close in fill.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. It kind of just right underneath. If you're going really slower technical stuff, it actually gives a decent spread down below.
That's a good idea. Never thought of that.
Amount of arm stamina. Yep, exactly, Jeremy. I'm 6'1.5". I like to say I'm 6'2", just so I can gain that extra half inch. But I'm 6'1.5", and taking the bar risers off actually helped me a bunch too.
Yeah.
So
I'd have to like draw a picture, but it changes the way like your body mechanics and geometry there and where your muscles are working. And I can tell when my bars are high because it works me so much. Like I get arm pump really quickly, and I'm not usually susceptible to arm pump that much.
Well, one of the nice things about the time of dirt bikes right now is how great the bikes are, but also there's like 5 different bar companies out there that have so many different, sweeps and rises, and then different lengths for your controls on your bars and all that kind of stuff. So,
but I can't remember. Is it Pro Taper? I think Pro Taper actually has a website that does it's got like a full chart of comparisons.
Yep.
So when you want to look at Pro Taper versus Neckin, man, there's not a lot of info on the Neckin stock bars, which is how I ended up with bars that were too high because I kind of guessed.
Yeah. And I'm actually a big fan of the stock 500, 450 bars.
The Neckin ones?
Yeah.
I like them. Yeah, they're great bars.
Yeah. I have my buddy Rob from Rob's Dirt Bike Camp. He has a 22 300XC and also a 22 500EXC. And for some reason, the 22 300XC, audio in and out. I hope you can hear us now.
Yeah, I was cutting out for a second there. Okay. All
right. But what I was getting at is Rob's 22 300XC kills his back, and it's stock bars, no rise, and the 500 didn't.
Right. So we went the same year, right?
Like same exact year, but it's an XC chassis versus PDS chassis. Okay. So yeah. Let's see. What are we at now? We're in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably about time to.
Yeah.
Did we pass anything up? There was a question that we were going to come back to. I don't remember.
Let's see if we can scroll up here.
Oh, somebody asked me how I was feeling after Baja.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing good. I thought I'd broken some fingers and that I just smashed them so hard that the nerves stopped. So yeah, you can see there's a pretty clean break in my handguard flags where it actually like sheared off and smashed into my hand. I hit some brush that was not so much brush, like a limb at speed. You find a lot of times out in the sand washes, you'll be running this 2-track and there's a big high center hump in there, and you come into all the turns and you have to sort of gamble. Can I get over the hump safely? Because I need to be on the outside of the turn, because if you lean in, you're going to nail yourself every single time. Like my arms were covered in scabs from just getting whipped for hours and hours and hours, hitting like just little brush. Like, if it was a regular ride, it'd be like, oh, okay, that hurt a little bit. But I was, dude, my sleeves were glued to my arms by the time it was over. Just sheets of scabs. Yeah, I'm still waiting to get diagnosis on the rest of the stuff. I've had x-rays and there's no broken bones, but we're thinking now maybe I ruptured the bursa sac on my knee, which is why my knee is all kind of like lumpy and weird. Like I have full mobility, but like when the dog walks by and does the old tail wag smack, man, I definitely know.
Yeah.
And then shoulders are just kind of, they took a beating. So we'll give them a couple of weeks to sort of, we'll unstretch some of those tendons and see if everything comes back together. But right now it's like difficult to reach out and grab stuff. So, hopefully that'll be good, because I've got some riding to do on January 2nd in Costa Rica.
So, bummer.
Yeah, I know, it's rough. Even if I can't ride, I'm going to be back at the old hacienda drinking beers and hanging out with the bros.
There you go. Hell yeah.
So doing good, healing.
All right. So Jeremy, you were going to get back to an event.
Oh yeah.
So it's not next weekend; it's the following weekend. So December 17th.
17th, right? Yeah.
12 to 5. 5's kind of, you want to hang out. We'll probably have a bonfire, weather permitting. We got a couple grills out here and a griddle. If you want to bring stuff to throw on the grill,
bring your own meat.
Do that. Track will be open. I have a meter showing up tomorrow. We're going to be tuning up the track and getting everything dialed in on that. So hopefully the snow's gone and people can come out and ride the track. You will be required to sign a waiver. And if you crash on my property, you did it on the street or something. So
tell the doctor you had a trampoline accident.
Something else.
Downhill mountain bike.
Yeah, let's not get insurance involved. But it's also going to be an open shop to where Cal and myself and Brian and Mullet will be here. They're going to be doing tire changes and kind of going over how to do tire changes, and then also answering other questions on the bike stuff. We're going to offer free help on bikes if people want to come out. The kind of thing that I wanted to promote this with is the questions that you're afraid to ask on Facebook because you might think you'll get roasted or something, bring them here.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
sure.
if you don't know how to change a battery, I don't care. I will show you how to do it, and we can go over it. If you want to diagnose electrical stuff, it's just kind of going to be an open environment where, you know, people can ask what they want, and, you know, everybody's at a different level riding wise and mechanic wise and everything like that. And so we just kind of want to and give back to the community a little bit, and then also spotlight different people. So this is something that we're going to try to do at T&M here once a month, and kind of spotlight a different company. So the first one's going to be TBT. We'll probably have Paulson's and have Jeff Skewis out for the next one.
Oh yeah.
You know, and just try to get people in that are part of this riding community and give back to the community. We'll have Rob out from Rob's Dirt Bike Camp, and we'll talk about trail work and go over that whole thing on one of them. So I definitely encourage you guys to come out and check it out. And we'll have a few people out here giving riding tips as well, so we could work on cornering or obstacles. Again, all this is going to be weather permitting. It's been pretty snowy and miserable right now, so hopefully it clears up a little bit.
I will not be offering any riding tips. I think I crashed more times in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 5 years.
Yep.
So don't ask me.
Brian will be offering how to put lotion on your wounds and healing up tips.
Yeah.
So
Voltaren matters. God, that stuff is awesome. When you go to Baja, Mexico, buy the Voltaren 2.5% with no prescription. That's the way.
Oh, it looks like you got another engine rebuild here coming up here.
Oh boy, Brian. Here we go. I'll be there, but my son is graduating from the Marines. Work on vintage forks. Well, that would be something that
that's going to be a Dave Sheets question.
How vintage? Like what kind of vintage? Because sometimes parts are the problem. It's not the mechanics of doing it. It's getting the right parts.
Yep. Yeah, parts can be the issue.
Well, let's see.
So what about Baja would you do differently? More training?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't fight with the insurance company for 5 months and then not get hand surgery until March, and then spend basically 4.5 to 6 months recovering with, you know, hands that weren't working at 100%. So we've got some assistants out in the garage. Yeah, that really is my number one thing. So I didn't have much of a choice in the matter. I had to get the surgery, so it happened when it happened, but it really pushed back my training and my prep. I didn't ride very much during the season. You know, normally I'm on the bike all the time, and I spent a lot more time kind of working and off the bike and a little bit of riding, which translated into basically I got into like my physical training when I was confident that I could use my hands properly in probably early to mid-September, and that's not enough time to be fully conditioned and depart on pretty much Halloween. I had about, we'll call it like 6 weeks of physical training that I could handle. So I would definitely change that. Otherwise,
I was impressed. You only prepped a physical training for 6 weeks.
I didn't know if I was gonna pull it together, man.
Dude, I was like, he finished, and I know when he started doing it. That was super impressive. So way to go on that.
Yeah. That, I mean, honestly, that all comes down to probably just a lifetime of being a really physical person and not being sedentary. So I kind of drew upon what I already had, but it would certainly have been more advantageous if I'd had a working physical training program. And I know as I'm gearing up for the next season, I'm thinking to myself that I'm going to reach in and run a physical training program, and probably this is to force myself to do it. I'll probably make it fairly public, and I don't know. Maybe we'll have like some sort of like ladder challenge or something like that. I don't know.
The rower is definitely on point for.
I crushed the rower, man. Like for like a month straight, I was doing an hour, and then later I was doing like 2 hours at a time on the rower.
Yeah.
So I definitely caught up on my Netflix viewing, just whatever Cotton Candy series was. I watched like 4 seasons of Lucifer. Which is funny as hell.
Well, I got to get inside and watch Yellowstone here in a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
so what else we got?
Oh, that is a classic there, an 83 RM 250, huh?
Yeah. If you can send me an email if you want, and I can put you in touch with Dave, or you can try to contact him directly. But we can definitely look in. I think parts are probably going to be the hardest thing for that. I think rebuilding the forks wouldn't be a huge issue.
Yeah, I don't know what's actually in there. That's definitely something.
That was 2 years before I was born. So yeah, that's before my time. I'm sorry, I haven't done one of those.
Doug, I am not working on your 950. The LC8 is a fantastic motor. I love it. I think it's one of the best that KTM has ever made. So I might be able to help a little bit, but I think I put the word out today. We accepted an offer on the house, so I'm going to get really busy really quick getting everything outloaded, or hopefully everything coming out of storage accidentally like falling off the truck, or maybe like the truck will catch fire, because all that stuff has been in storage for like several months and I haven't missed very much of it.
It's funny how much stuff you can lose when you move.
Oh, dude.
It's insane.
Well, it used to be easy because the Army moved me like every 2 years, right? So you dispose of all the trash. And then I sat in one place for 10 years. And the next thing you know, there's just junk everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when's the last time I wore this jacket?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, I can't even talk about how much stuff I gave away when I moved.
Right.
So last time before I moved
yeah,
here.
you saw my garage clearing sale.
I know.
I put like a ton of stuff into the dump. I just gave up on it because people didn't want it. So
when is this going down again?
The 17th from noon to 5-ish.
No, I think he's talking about when the Tech Talk Live thing is going to go down again.
Oh, okay. Well, probably any minute based on whatever Elon's given us.
No.
Oh, when are we going to do this again? All right. The idea was to do it probably bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks. But that puts us, that's probably not bad. It's 2 weeks. It's like, I don't know. It might actually be a part of probably our shenanigans on the 17th, right?
Yeah, that'll be on a Saturday. So, we'd be doing it a day early.
Yeah.
I think Sunday night, maybe you guys can comment on this. Brian and I's thoughts were Sunday kind of works better. Saturdays, people are out doing stuff, or they're out on riding trips or whatever. Sunday, they're kind of coming back for most people on the normal schedule.
Especially in the winter, because it's already, it's been dark several hours by now.
Yeah.
So it may change a little bit later. But I think we're going to stick with Sunday, Sunday dinner time-ish, and try and hold on to that at least for the next few months. But yeah, I'm hoping to do it basically every other week.
Yep.
We'll see. There's some equipment requirements, and I got to line some people up. So you guys should throw some notes in the comments, like, who do you want to talk to? And then I'll call them up and say, hey, you have an audience. The public awaits.
Yeah. Or topics. If you guys have ideas for topics, would be another good thing.
Absolutely.
This bike was one topic. I think we could probably touch on the new 23 TBI as a topic.
That's a good one.
That's a hot topic. We've done a lot of testing at T&M on those. So I could talk about that bike for an hour or two. No problem. So
cool.
All right. Recovering from 2 days of unstucking new sledders. Perfect time. Nice. Okay. I'm glad you like Sundays, Ryan. That works for me too. Got anything else?
All right. Yeah, I think it's about time to wind this thing down.
Yeah.
We're up to, I can't see an hour and a half. That's respectable.
Yeah, hour and a half.
I don't want to turn this into like a Joe Rogan podcast, like 4 hours.
We still got 18 people here, so I appreciate everybody watching this, especially for our first one. I think it went all right. Yep, Forrest, that's my mini mullet. My mullet is gone, so but he wanted to keep his. He's braver than I am. So Forrest, say hi one more time.
Awesome.
But thanks, guys.
Back up and
there we go.
There we go. That's the sign.
I hope to see a bunch of you guys out here on the 17th. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome, guys. All right. Well, tune in a couple of weeks, and we'll do it in person. We'll do it again, and throw some comments, throw some topics, throw some ideas out there, because I just want to get like anything else. I just want to get the community pumped. So whatever we want to talk about, let's get some topics out there and we'll make it happen.
I like that one, Travis.
Trail repair topic. There we go. Travis,
Yeah.
bring your bike and we'll break it and then fix it with my with the tools that are in my trail pack.
That'll be his chainsaw and the shovel.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, cool, guys. Take care. Have an awesome night. And I think I've picked up a new saying from talking to some of the Ironmen, and it's hey, you only get one lap, so keep it pinned. We'll see you out there.
Oh yeah, guys. Night.